You know that person who just gets it? You've definitely met someone like this. They can hold a fascinating conversation on pretty much anything. They solve complex problems in a snap, and they always seem to be like 5 steps ahead when they're learning something new. Well, let's jump right into this explainer and uncover the exact system highly successful people use to treat learning as a serious, high-value skill instead of just some casual weekend hobby.
It's super tempting to see people who solve problems instantly and just assume they were, gifted at birth with some kind of cognitive superpower. But honestly, the real difference isn't their raw intelligence, it's how they learn. Look, most people spend hours just passively doom scrolling, crossing their fingers that some of that info actually sticks. But successful people, they are fiercely intentional about what gets into their minds. If you really want to sharpen your thinking, you have to realize that clarity is a completely learnable skill.
So here's our roadmap for the explainer today. We'll start by busting the genius myth, then walk through Phase 1, defending focus, Phase 2, active processing, and Phase 3, acting on wisdom. And we'll bring it all together with the clarity transformation.
All right, let's hit part 1, the genius myth, intelligence versus intentional learning.
And that brings us directly into Phase 1, defending focus. This is all about aggressively protecting your attention.
To actually build a clear mind, you have to accept a pretty harsh reality first. Deep understanding absolutely requires uninterrupted concentration. And we live in a world that is literally designed to distract us. Every single notification is fighting for your attention. So, to fight back, you need 3 non-negotiable habits. Guard your focus from the endless scroll, stop chasing every shiny new topic, and get comfortable spending time in total silence. Research shows it can take over 20 minutes for your brain to fully refocus after just one notification. 20 minutes? You simply can't build a powerful mind if you're constantly being pulled in a dozen directions.
We've all fallen into this trap, right? The scattered mind. You watch a 10-minute video on investing, then you switch over to fitness, pivot over to psychology, and cap it off with some entrepreneurship stuff. A week goes by and you've got surface-level trivia on 10 different subjects, but you haven't mastered absolutely anything.
This brings us to a massive takeaway. Depth beats variety. It's a total game changer. Instead of spreading your attention dangerously thin, the fastest learners pick one single skill that actually matters and they lock in on it for months. Depth is always going to beat variety when you're going for true comprehension.
And part of getting that depth means unplugging. Try going for a walk without a podcast or a playlist. Sounds incredibly simple, doesn't it? But actually, scratch that, it's terrifying for a lot of people. We reach for our phones the absolute second there's a free moment. But the biggest mental breakthroughs, they happen when absolutely nothing is demanding your attention. You need that space to reflect. Because a mind that never slows down is a mind that rarely gains true wisdom.
Moving on to Phase 2, active processing. This is where we engage directly with our knowledge. This is where the heavy lifting happens. We shift from just passively taking info in to forcing our brains to actually work with it. The 3 habits here are turning learning into a real activity, writing way more than you think you need to, and making reading a daily routine. A lot of folks think learning is just letting an audio track play in the background. Trust me, that's barely the warm-up.
Check out this comparison. Real learning does not happen just by hitting play and letting the words kind of wash over you. It clicks when you hit pause, actively summarize what you just heard, ask yourself the hard questions, and literally explain the concepts out loud to an empty room. The more you force your brain to actually manipulate the knowledge, the better you'll retain it for when it actually counts. I absolutely love this quote. Passive consumption feels productive. Active learning creates results. Please don't trick your own brain into feeling like you've accomplished something big just because you binge-watched educational content. It's the active learning, the friction, the effort that genuinely moves the needle in your life.
And here's a highly actionable tip. Just 15 minutes of reading a book daily. That gives you the kind of deep, structured perspective that a fragmented social media feed literally cannot provide. Books are the ultimate shortcut to gain knowledge from experts who spent decades studying one specific thing. Those 15 minutes train your brain to focus and think linearly.
But as you're reading, you've got to write. Keep a journal. You know how an idea feels completely brilliant and flawless when it's just floating around in your head? But the exact moment you try to write it out, you realize it's a total mess? Writing instantly exposes the glaring gaps in your thinking. It forces those fuzzy thoughts into sharply organized understanding.
Okay, let's hit Phase 3, acting on wisdom, turning all that hard-earned knowledge into tangible results. This is the critical final step.
We take what we've processed and inject it straight into the real world. 2 habits here. Ruthlessly vet the people you learn from and actually use what you learn. Let's really zero in on that first one for a second, because let's be honest, everyone is giving out advice these days.
Before you take advice from anyone, you have to ask yourself this one ruthless question. Have they produced the results I want, period? You should only be studying people who've actually built the businesses, hit the athletic milestones, or overcome the documented challenges you're facing. Success totally leaves clues, but you gotta make sure you're following the right detectives.
And once you find that golden advice, use it. Reading a stack of books on fitness will not make you healthy. Watching 100 hours of video on discipline won't make you disciplined. If it never becomes action, you're just entertaining yourself with facts. It's as simple as that.
Finally, Section 5, the clarity transformation. This is the big picture of building a sharper mind.
Look at how it all loops together. Defend your focus against a crazy, distracting world. Process your knowledge actively so it actually sticks. And then act on your newfound wisdom. Doing this proves that continuous improvement isn't just for some elite club of born geniuses. It is a systematic, highly learnable skill. And you can master it.
Becoming smarter isn't about sounding super impressive at a dinner party, right? It's about letting your newfound insights fuel genuine, measurable change in your life. Every lesson should lead to action. Every insight should create change. That's how you unlock your full potential.
So, to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, provocative question. You've just seen the exact roadmap for how successful people think clearly. But what are you actually going to change today? Don't let this be just another video you nod along to and then scroll past. Pick just one habit, defend your focus, and go execute on it right now.